good morning to you on this 8th day of November. It's not only a friendly Friday, it's a forceful Friday, a feisty Friday, not a fried Friday, but it's going to be a good day, a one-of-a-kind day on this, the Fifth Connection. I'm Terry Martin, and the other side of the microphone is Theo van Rensburg-Linster. How are you, Theo?
I am fine as can be.
Fine to fair to mild.
Fine to
it's
fair
a very
to
weather-like report
yes.
of your
Cloudy
temperature
with
this
the
morning.
chance of meatballs or something like that, isn't there?
Okay.
There's a movie like that, isn't it?
Well, this morning is we're going to be engaging in a very interesting discussion. It's sort of a freeway between Theo and myself. Theo, you and I go way back before the Earth's crust cooled.
Yeah.
I was born before the Earth's crust cooled, and you came after the Earth's crust cooled.
Yeah, I got a message and say, listen, what do we do with this crust?
Yeah, what do we do with this guy? He's rather crusty.
Yeah.
We've walked the road together. We've been through some hill country, some valleys, some dales, some fire, some floods, all kinds of weather conditions. Talk to us about what it was like walking with this guy, man. I mean,
Walking with you, I was gonna say walking in sunshine. I was going to say, no.
definitely not sunshine.
I would, no, I mean, I think this is sort of both our responsibilities, and we were talking about this morning session and thought that it's helpful to maybe just pause a little bit from what we were doing and give a little bit of a window into what Terry and myself have enjoyed over, is it 40 years? When did we meet, actually? When was the first time?
1981.
1981.
Yep, I was in my second year at Bible college, and you came walking in there with an attaché case, looking very officious.
Are you serious? I had
On the Bible college campus, and that's this is Theo, a C-O, as in the O, C-O.
I do not remember that at all.
I know you can't.
There's something that I don't want to remember. So that's.
It's been interesting, walking over these many years, because we have learned to be quite frontal with each other, and yet we can laugh our heads off and we can cry together.
Yes.
You cry more than I do.
Yes. Well, no, I take my cue from you, and when it comes to crying.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
No, but
we've been in some interesting situations.
Yeah. I can imagine that some of the folks that are listening in do know us, acquaintances, family, close family, acquaintances. But it's as we sort of thought about what these conversations could be like, I think. We've now worked through the book of Philippians, the letter to the Philippians and Colossians, and this set of relationships between people keep coming up. The Apostle Paul and the folks in Philippi and in Colossae. And the question I was thinking earlier on is, why is it that we are sometimes so. And you talked about the Friday, forceful Friday and a feisty Friday. I sometimes think we could be viewed of, now I've not done a survey to check with people what they think of us, but I do think there are moments where I consider that we are or have been eager to pull out the sword. I think that,
of course, you more than me. I mean, I only pull out the sword once you pull your sword. No. I think we are similar in so many ways.
Yes.
And our strength of obviously probably has shown to be our greatest weakness at different times in
Mm.
our own lives, where you are constantly saying what you're not supposed to say. You say the right thing at the wrong time and the wrong thing at the right time,
Yeah.
and so yeah, taking off people's heads because of our quite articulate. I think both of us have a way with words, and words can be very, very dangerous things.
Yeah, let's talk about the words. Words. Um,
Yeah.
it's sometimes very hard. I can tell you, sometimes it's hard for me to follow you. You have such a brilliant mind, and it's not like a disease that you should be cured of. So don't go there. But it is sometimes hard because there are things that I don't know. I just don't get them. Um, but I think the one beauty of of that moment for me is that I can stop and I can say, "Hey, I don't get that." I felt maybe not initially because I think initially you're always in a relationship. You want to put your best foot forward. You don't want to feel or sound as if you're stupid, as that you've never heard a word like that. But and part of that is maybe a normal attribute, not a preferred one, but a normal attribute that comes. Attribute is maybe not a good word to use, but you do not want to appear ignorant. But I think I have, over a 40-year window, I have felt that I, I, I enjoy so much the conversation and the relationship because I know that there's safety in with you. There's safety in saying, "Look, I don't get this. I don't know this." Not only on issues that I don't understand, but even ones where I think maybe you've not gone you've not gone far enough with a conclusion that I thought was a legitimate one. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It
Mm.
does. And I think your impact into my life has always been land the plane. I don't see this plane landing. This plane is looking for a runway for the past 15 minutes and still hasn't landed. And I
Mm.
think that really gets me. Listen, just slow down, slow
Mm.
down.
Mm.
The folk on the other side of the microphone aren't as excited about what you getting all worked up about here and Jesus jumping about. And
Mm.
just land the plane. Just come back to earth.
Mm.
And I think that is always a big one for me because never forget a pastor friend of mine saying to me one day, "You will not know how I started fearing you."
Mm. Oy, oy, oy.
And we worked together on the same team. We
Mm.
co-pastored together. You really have to have guts to do that, to
Mm.
be co-pastors in a situation.
Mm.
But we did. And the word to me was, "You never understood or appreciated the fact that I was so fearful of you because you would come crashing into my office. And every time it was a new thing that you were discovering in the biblical text or about the world. And you
Mm.
would Jesus jump about it. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, man, I don't even get it.
Mm.
And you going and I thought this was great to share with the world, and
Mm.
you become oblivious to the impact of your words and how you come across because you're not tuned. Your agent arena attunement is off. There's no attunement between the two things.
Mm. For those folks who are listening and think Terry is embarking on a new career in mechanics, tuning cars, it is like that, isn't it, Terry? The sensitivity um, to the moment. What is that expression that they use? Read the room.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh no, that was the last thing. I don't want to read the room. This is it. Let the world stand still. I'm talking.
Yes.
You know, and you learn very quickly. At another time, another gentleman said to me, "Oh, I love it. You have a way with words."
Mm.
But you know what you don't realize? He was a much older guy than I.
Mm.
And he said, with his very interesting accent. You don't know how you hurt people with the way you say things.
Mm.
That was
Wow.
a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one, and wanted to learn because I never liked people to sort of match my level of interaction, right?
But
Because you think you got it down and you got high certainty, high explanatory power, and
yeah.
so you tend to be very competitive and
Mm.
you fight at the level of ideas
Mm.
because I can state it a lot more sharply than you can.
Yeah.
And I steal your fire and I don't realize I'm hurting the relationship.
Mm.
And I think you've often said, I don't want to listen to what you're saying right now. Now we will laugh about it, but the point is well taken. You know,
Sure. And I,
just stop, just hold it, because
but that's impressed me because I had always felt, one of the things that you do, you take a pen and you make a note. That is, you take note of what being said. And we were talking about both in the letter to the Philippians and Colossians, this idea of paying attention to something. I think this just a simple act of taking up a pen and writing down something someone has said in their presence, you know, not theatrical, but just really deeply authentic. That I appreciate of you. And I'm thinking of um, Howard Hendricks, who once said that in a conversation with his students, a student said something, and the prof went and said, "Wait, hold it, I gotta write that down." And the student said, "Prof, you said that." So he was
and,
stunned.
and I'm the student.
I'm the
Yeah.
student. And so the student, the prof ran to go fetch a piece of paper of a statement that the student made. And Prof. Hendricks was saying, "Oh, just say that again. Let me write it down." And the student says, "No, you said this to me." And so, but just that little act, I think that means a lot. I think it's something that we can, I think we're both good at that. We have sharpened our ability to really listen to people. I'm actually thinking of an incident now. Must be about 30 years ago, where we in Fred's house there, and there was a young man coming in, and he had certain persuasions, and both you and Fred, I think, were very, very kind to not raise a sort of big theological issue with him. I don't know if you can recall that.
I can recall that.
As I don't know who it was.
We, yeah, just
Doesn't
kind
really
of
matter.
pulled back and said,
Yeah,
now's not the time to.
this is not the time. Yeah. Talk about time, Terry. 40 years. I mean, in the words of Don Rickles, you're getting on my nerves now.
Yeah, well, that too, I know, I know. I mean, and our discussions have not grown old. If you've heard Theo once, well, you'd want to hear him again. And that has come as a result of walking through some very deep waters, right?
Absolutely.
Very deep times. I mean, you've challenged my socks off when I see how God has recycled you from a servant ministry perspective, because I come out of a situation where I was ideologically locked.
Mm.
Guys who have come through a divorce are second class citizens in the family of God.
Mm.
And then the Lord takes me halfway around the world to go and study, and three of my best buddies
Mm.
that I develop a relationship with on the campus have come through a divorce.
Mm.
Well, that sure rocked my world, man. It rocked my boat.
Mm.
And then the Lord brought us back into South Africa, and you and I connect again. And by then, you had walked through your very trying experience as well. And I
And
just see how God had prepared my heart for, to minister back into your life and have you minister back into my life.
yeah, over that window, and I think that's quite an interesting point you're making. I can't see that we would have been where we are today, had it not been for the trauma. And it's something that should not be discarded. I mean, I know we do generally say as God's people, it's in the darkest moments and through the valleys of the shadow of death that we understand and experience the true, authentic meaning of what it really means to enjoy God's goodness. But that still has to be experienced for it to be more than just a cliche or a quote from a verse from the biblical text. But it's and then it takes years, because I think there are many folks who are struggling on the sidewalks of life now that have not been encouraged, not been supported, not been valued because of painful experiences they've gone through. And we've placed labels on them. And it's fascinating how our relationship is spilled over to impact on many different levels in the many different areas where I've lived. In the US, so Sweden currently, so since the mid-90s, and then 4.5 years in the US, 5 years in Italy, 5 in Belgium, 18 months intermittently in China, Beijing, China. Brussels, I said, right? 5 years in Brussels. And so in all of those experiences, I think we've been able to maintain these connections and collaborations, thankfully, due to these new modern communications technology. But you've traveled as well with me to the US once in 2018, not too long ago, but also to Sweden. So yeah.
And I think I come away from that 43-year window of walking with you and you having being nice to me over 43 years and walking with me.
I had instructions from Jackie. So
okay. It has been such an, I mean, you've built into my life so deeply because you've made me aware that God is not a God of second chances. He's a God of brand new opportunities. And when one gets ideologically locked, you can't see what brand new opportunities look like. You know, God gives second-class citizens third-class and third-rate opportunities, not brand new. And so that was a big one for me, shifting my own thinking. And for where you're at now and what you're going to go into, God willing, even in the new year, is a very different paradigm than what we grew up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outfit where we were. But God can recycle, God can give, God can restore the years that the locusts have eaten, isn't it?
Absolutely. Different kind of morning this morning on the Fifth Connection.
Absolutely.
Terry, thanks for this little chat. We, for those of you listening in, one of the things that we are thinking about quite a lot is, you know, what can we do to create some kind of conduit where you can speak to us and let us know what you think. And so just be aware of the fact that we will potentially reach out to you in the near future, and in order to find a way to let you speak, tell us what you think, what your comments are. That's always useful. Terry?
Well, thanks, Theo, for taking the challenge just to open ourselves up, just to give folk a little glimpse at the same feet of clay they do.
Yeah.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
Yeah, a wonderful rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend. God bless you.
Though I can talk like an angel, make a mountain come when I call, yet don't have love, don't mean nothing at all. Although I hang like a martyr, know that giving stuff is smarter, bring to slaves the long lost liberty. If I don't have love, don't mean a thing, for the virtue of love is giving, believing, receiving, not self-seeking. It's protecting, connecting, respecting, forgiving. is everlasting.
There cannot be something sweeter than lay your life down for another.